Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for this meeting tonight, Lord. We thank you for each and every one that's here, Lord. Lord, help us in our hearts and in our minds to receive and to see and be part of this community, Lord. Lord, we thank you for your blessings upon us, Lord, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Call this meeting to order. For those in attendance, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. To welcome all of our friends and neighbors and colleagues to this regularly scheduled April 19th, 2021 council meeting. As you come in the door over there, there'll be a sign-in sheet on the desk. If you're a guest with us tonight, please sign your name to the sheet. And please have a roll call vote, City Clerk.
Councilperson Soha.
Present.
Reiner. Beer.
Here.
Horsey.
Here.
Sharp.
Here.
Stuchel.
Here.
Pratt. Sizer.
Here.
And Mayor Stockford.
Here.
We have 7 present.
Thank you, Katie. I heard from Councilwoman Pratt. She's not going to be with us tonight. So, wish our best to Cynthia. We'll move into approval of agenda items. City manager or any members of council have any changes to make to the agenda tonight?
Mayor, the administration would like to remove item G from the agenda. We basically want to put this in a holding pattern as material costs and other things related to this project are seeing major fluctuations due to the economy.
Okie dokie. Any other changes? Entertain a motion to amend the agenda and remove item G in new business.
So moved. Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Morrissey, seconded by Councilman Beer. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. A motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Morrissey, seconded by Councilman Sharp. May I please have a roll call vote, City Clerk?
Councilperson Beer.
Yes.
Morrissey.
Yes.
Sharp.
Yes.
Stuchel.
Yes.
Sizer.
Yes.
Mayor Stockford.
Yes.
Councilperson Soha.
Yes.
And Briner.
Yes.
All approved.
Thank you, Katie. We'll move into public comment on agenda items only. During this time, the podium will be open. Please state your name. Please limit your trips to 1 to the podium. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. And please make sure if you're commenting on anything during this section of public comment that has a direct tie to something present on the agenda tonight. Podium is now open. Seeing no public comment, we'll close the podium and move into the consent agenda. On the consent agenda, we've got approval of bills, city and BPU claims of March 18th, payroll of March 18th, city council minutes of April 5th, election commission minutes of April 13th, Hillsdale Business Association's open air market use agreement, Hillsdale College alley closure for Central Hallpalooza, Hillsdale College Gina Relays parking, and Hillsdale College commencement street closure request. Any conversation, discussion on any items on the consent agenda, gentlemen?
Just the street closure was removed, correct?
No,
it's
the one under new business.
Oh, forgive me.
That's okay.
There's 2 G's, so we'll forgive you.
Oh, that's.
They're both G's, but.
I wondered why. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Morrissey, seconded by Councilman Soha. May I please have a roll call vote, City Clerk?
Councilperson Morrissey.
Yes.
Sharp.
Yes.
Stuchel.
Yes.
Sizer.
Yes.
Mayor Stockford.
Yes.
Councilperson Soha.
Yes.
Briner.
Yes.
And Beer.
Yes.
8-0 approved.
Thank you, Katie. We'll move into communications petitions. Item A on communication petitions is Kappa 5K Glow Run. Excuse me while I find it in the agenda. I'm sure there's a little bit of information in there.
Page 54.
What's that?
54.
Okay. Page 54. Dear Lord in heaven. All right, CAPA, Child Abuse Prevention Awareness. Council of Hillsdale County will be holding their annual 5K Glow Run on Saturday, April 24th at 8 p.m. That would be, that is this Saturday?
This Saturday.
Yeah. Start and finish line will be alongside the dirt portion of Waterworks Drive within Sandy Beach. Hillsdale City Police and Fire Departments will be assisting along the course. So that is open to anyone. Encourage people to do that. And item B, Hillsdale County Commissioner update from Commissioner Doug Ingles. Doug?
Thank you, City Manager and Council. I want to follow up on comments from last meeting regarding contributions from Hillsdale County Board of Commissioners. The Human Services appropriations in 2019 totaled $763,000. In 2020, $754,000, and the approved budget for 2021 is $771,000. The breakdown is as follows. Lifeways, the 2021 budget received $274,000. To explain, Lifeways Community Mental Health provides behavior health services to residents of Hillsdale County who have severe mental illness, intellectual or developmental disability, or substance use disorder. Lifeways manages the delivery of programs and services. Lifeways also helps all community members better understand, identify, and cope with mental illness. Their services include adult, children, and family services, as well as crisis. Again, the Board of Commissioners approved the budget in 2021 of $274,000. Money from Hillsdale stays in Hillsdale. Also, the 2021 budget to Mid-State Health is $50,000. Mid-State Health Network is a prepaid inpatient health plan for Michigan counties and is in partnership with Community Mental Health. Local providers provide mental health services to adults with severe and persistent mental illness, children with severe emotional disturbance, individuals with intellectual developmental disabilities, in particular individuals with substance use disorders. The mission of Mid-State Health is to ensure access to high-quality, locally delivered, effective, and accountable public behavior health and substance use disorder services. Again, the Board of Commissioners approved the budget of 2021 of $50,000 for Mid-State Health. We also have a FEMA grant through Community Action Agency, which is $13,000 for teen advisory, emergency shelter funding. Then in addition, for our human services, we have the contribution to the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services 2021 budget was $235,000, including public health, dental centers, personal health and disease prevention, environmental health. Personal health is WIC, immunization, STD and HIV prevention, disease control, school vision, and hearing, among others, children health care as well. The environmental health is your general environmental health, food service, on-site sewage, private public water supply, body art safety, medical waste inspection, and others. Again, the approved budget in 2021 by the Board of Commissioners is $235,000. So what we've got through the Hillsdale County Board of Commissioners, three-year total, is approximately $2.8 million. So that's our contribution from the county, which was asked last meeting. And that completes my report for tonight.
Okay, so you're saying in lieu of giving $5,000 to Domestic Harmony, you guys give a couple million to
I'm saying that the clients served by Domestic Harmony and others are also served by agencies that county board of commissioners provides funds.
Okay. Any questions for Commissioner Ingles?
Just a little confused on, this is mental health and stuff, where domestic harmony deals with abuse.
Right, so Domestic Harmony, involves the families and the clients as well. They have, mental, perhaps, stresses going on. I mean, it's not simple. And I think that those clients are actually very welcome and do have an opportunity to take advantage of those services.
Well, I think next time we have domestic harmony here, we'll have you present and ready to go.
Perfect.
And that way you can counter her claim that you guys don't contribute, or whatever amount, how it's divided
It
out.
may not be a direct, it's certainly not a direct line item.
Right,
And
well, we want to get that cleared up.
Yeah, well, it's not a line item from the county, but it is a line item to agencies that do provide services that the clients of Domestic Harmony have access to.
Right. I appreciate you digging into it, and
I did. I went right home and jumped on it. I appreciate the question.
well,
'Cause I learned a lot too here.
well, it all started because of Councilman Briner, and I went from there.
Well, I appreciate the work that we have together, and as I've mentioned several times to City Manager Mackey, we're building bridges, and I think some of those bridges didn't exist in the past, and I think that the city and the county can move forward in a great way.
I think we
So I
should, yeah.
appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any discussion on any of the items in communications petitions? Seeing none, we'll move on into introduction and adoption of ordinances, public hearing. And we are gonna hold a public hearing for Special Assessment District 2103. Dave?
Thank you, Mayor. This is the Elm Court road project, road and water sewer project that was brought before the council last month. It was requested to be put back on the agenda after some discussion with residents on Elm Court occurred. So I do have two letters of support, one from Hospice of Hillsdale County Executive Director, and another from Randy Harris, a resident on Elm Court. I know Councilman Briner was going to try to talk to others, and this is a public hearing, so if they are here, they are welcome to come to the podium and speak.
Okay. So at this point, we will open the public hearing and we will open up the podium. If you are here as a result of the Special Assessment District 2103, whether you're a resident of Elm or you're just here to comment on it, now's your opportunity. Please limit your trips to one to the podium. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. Podium's now open.
Hello, my name is Desiree Howland and I live at 2 Elm Court with my husband Brian Howland. I brought a copy of our letter to you guys, if that's okay, but I'll just read it quick. It says, I am writing in regards to the consideration of the special assessment for Elm Court. My family and I are not in favor of the special assessment and kindly reject the proposal. The reasons why is because our family personally cannot and will not be able to afford the payment, even with the 10-year payment plan, if we do the loan or whatever. We just bought our first home last June, and our budget is set with our bills and our house payment. And I'm also a full-time college student, so I incurred a ton of student loans to support my schooling. So I'm able to work in a career that I want to and where I can help people. I'm studying social work. Also, we don't agree with this because there's other work going to be going on in this area. With the water pipes, there's lead, I guess, and they're about to be tearing the roads up to fix that, so I think it's kind of pointless to fix the road and then have it torn up for this, or either way, having it done 2 times, it's pointless to me. And we believe that we pay our taxes and the road should be done with that, so with all due respect, we decline. Our neighbors next to us, they weren't able to make it tonight, but they sent their letter with us for you guys as well, and they declined as well.
Thank you, Desiree. Any more public comment? We will close the podium and we'll open up discussion at the council table. Council members,
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Soha.
I drove up there Saturday afternoon and I talked to Mr. Kinney at 3 Elm Court, and he said that he and Mrs. Harris and everybody in the court was against it. And it appears we have a letter, not from the hospice, but that other letter. I'm not sure, who was that other letter from, Mr. Mackey?
Brandy Harris.
The letter in support?
Mm-hmm.
Ma'am is,
No, it's not. Her name is Holland.
oh, I'm sorry, forgive me, okay. So Brandy was in, so, Mr. Kinney, who I thought was gonna come and speak, I think that's you there, yes? Told me that the neighbors were in, agreement against it, all 4 of them. That letter says that 3 of the 4 are against it, so just wanted the council to know that.
Well, thank you for going out of your way to go over there and talk to people, Councilman Soha. That's good proactive constituent services. Appreciate it. Any more discussion at the council table? Councilman
Just a
Stuchel?
question, because I'm not sure how this is supposed to work. But Councilman Sohoff and Councilman Morrissey offered to chip in $5,000 apiece for this process. So that would cover 2 of those residents. If that is a valid offer and a valid thing we can do. I'm asking the city manager, because I'm not sure what the legalities are.
I guess we would talk to Tom about that. I appreciate Councilman Soha and Councilman Morrissey suggesting that. That sounds like some pretty shaky, legal, dangerous ground to me. So I think it's a great idea. I think it's a lovely sentiment, and I appreciate that, definitely. But we don't want to get ourselves in hot water with anything like this. City Attorney?
Yeah, to the extent that any council persons have indicated that they'd be willing to contribute money, it would be purely a gift on their part at their discretion. It wouldn't be anything that they would be required to do, and it certainly wouldn't be anything that you would factor into the cost of a specific project, because to the extent that they contributed funds, they could designate that those funds go toward repairing the streets within the city, but unless they designated it to a specific project, it wouldn't be applied to a specific project.
So we go to the general fund.
Well, no, if you're gonna give a gift, you can designate and restrict its use, right? So if you're gonna give a gift to an organization, you can say, it is only to be used for X, and then it's only to be used for X. If they were to give funds and say, I'm giving this for a specific road project, and it can only be used for that, and that's all it can be used for. If they say, I'm giving it generally only to be used to fix the roads, then it would go into a fund to provide for that.
Thank you. Did you have questions for
Mr. Mackey, weren't you working up some paperwork or something to make it?
Well, what I was working on was what Tom was describing, that it would be basically a annual donation to the city that would be specified for road and go into the road fund.
But can we make this the gift to this project?
So
You could if you wanted to. But I will tell you that regardless of what you do here tonight, the next one we do, you will have people in the same boat.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
so starting a precedent is, you know, unless.
Right.
And if you think of it this way, it would be similar to when people give money, say, for a park or for upkeep of a cemetery or that sort of thing, and they designate the gift for that purpose. It's basically the same thing. It goes into a fund for that specific use.
Mayor, if I may, I'm gonna ask Kristen, the city engineer, to come up and explain the process, the construction process, because one thing I heard from Ms. Holly, who came up, was incorrect in regards to, we wouldn't be doing the road and then cutting it open for water and sewer lines. Actually, the water and sewer lines would be done first, so if Kristen could come up and walk us through the process.
Yeah, we are not doing this road twice, and we're not going to pave it and then tear it up. We already have bids that are on future in this agenda for you to award the construction project for the water and sewer project that is slated for Elm Court. That will tear up a large portion of it, but it will not tear it all up. Absent doing a special assessment district, we will only restore the portion of that project that gets torn up associated with the water and sewer project. So when it's all said and done, if you've been back in there, there's a wider section back where the homes are. The trenches that we dig to put in the water and sewer are the only thing that will be paved. So all the pavement that exists there right now that's crumbling will still be that way. We will direct the contractor to only pave the trenches. So you'll basically end up with an 8 or 10 foot trench width that's paved, and the rest of it's going to be crumbling and falling apart. If we go forth with the special assessment district, the entire road will be redone, the curb and gutter will be redone, the sidewalk will be redone, and the project will be a brand new road with the water and sewer already put in underneath. And the lead service lines will be replaced while we're doing the water main.
Question is, do you have an estimate cost savings if you did that all at once versus if you just did the water work and came back 2 years later to do the roads?
Yes, but I have to get my glasses. It's getting old for the birds. If we do not approve the Elm Court Special Assessment District, the Board of Public Utility will pay an additional $40,000 for the restoration of the parts that they disturbed when putting in water sewer.
They'll save $40,000 if we don't do it?
No.
Okay.
The BPU will be spending $40,000 to restore what they dig up when they put in water and sewer.
Okay, okay.
If the special assessment district does go forth, the BPU will not pay the additional $40,000 for restoration.
Okay.
The road project bid was, right off the top of my head, $55,000. So instead of spending $40,000 to restore just the trenches, we'll pay $55,000 and do the entire road. That's the difference in the two costs. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does, but I want to, I'm guessing it doesn't, but that 40,000 BPU save doesn't get rolled into the roads.
Right.
Okay.
Any questions for Kristen while she's up there?
When do you see, if we don't pass this, that road might be?
It would go to the bottom of the list and we'll do it at some future date. Because if it gets rejected, I mean, we have so many roads that need to be done, it'll end up down at the bottom and it'll, I can't tell you when it would be done. There are roads that are in worse shape than that, if you can believe it, so.
No, it's bad.
Councilman Zeiser.
This is not particularly a question for the city engineer, but can anyone clarify for me what the tally is? It's my understanding that it's something like 3 against and 2 in favor. Is that correct? As far as the residents on that.
Well, do we have the third one in writing? Or was
What do we have?
We've got 2 in
Let's just go
favor,
to
1 being hospice,
Okay,
2 against, 2 are both present here tonight.
okay.
1 person unaccounted for, 1 resident
Yeah, the way the
unaccounted for.
charter reads, they have to be in writing to be considered.
To be considered against.
Yes, so my count, you have 2 for, 2 against, and 1.
And 1 is a push.
Yeah.
So it's actually a deadlock.
Just to clarify, what the number of those for or against has to do with it is, and it doesn't, you You have no obligation to say anything or submit anything. The charter provides that if more than 50% of the number of owners of privately owned real property to be assessed for any improvement shall object in writing to the proposed improvement. So you take, if you have 5 property owners, 3 of them have to object in writing. And if they do, then what that means is instead of a simple majority being required to approve the special assessment district, it requires a vote of 7 council people.
Okay. Is the 3rd resident present tonight?
Yes.
Okay. Well, he didn't object in writing. Do you want to take the podium, sir? Or ma'am?
I just want to let you know I do have my letter and our neighbor's letter here to reject.
Yeah, I understand. That's 2 letters to reject.
And
I
the third
understand.
is right there.
And the 3rd one's right there?
Yep.
Okay.
We don't have a letter though. We didn't prepare anything in writing.
In order under the charter for it to trigger the supermajority vote requirement, it has to be in writing.
I would write, if you're objecting to it, I would write it out right now, sir.
That's what we're having him do.
We can do that.
Don't want to sit in here and play political games with people and say, oh, he didn't object in writing in time, didn't get it in the agenda. This is people's money.
This is some real Mr. Smith goes to Washington.
I don't understand why he didn't come up and public comment.
I don't know. I don't know.
2 letters we have to get to.
What's that?
The 2 letters that she has, that Katie has copy of, or?
Yeah, they need to go into the minutes.
Still only affects them, everyone's driving on it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be.
If it was, you know,
I mean, you guys are free to discuss it. It's,
No, that's their call. If they wanna live where that street bucket is, that's
Yeah.
their call.
Yeah.
Just
they're the ones driving on it, not
10
us.
years from now, if they come here and say, well, our streets are now just, there's not a street there, then that's still their judgment, their call. They have the right to do what they did. And I'm not gonna argue with them.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, that's it.
but motion to, do you guys want to keep discussing this or you want to vote on it? We have 3 letters in objection.
Yeah, he's finishing.
May I say one more thing? I went there because I was understanding that the neighborhood was in agreement that they wanted to get the project done. That's what I had heard through the grapevine. And so on that further consideration, I was willing to change my vote. But that's why I went to speak to the neighbors myself. And the consensus was, and I don't know if this woman changed her mind or not with that, but that all 4 houses back there were in agreement against, was what I was told on Saturday afternoon. But had I been told the opposite, I would have voted yes, but I will not. So I just wanted you guys to know.
I mean, you did your job as a councilman. I think it was stellar work. That's exactly what we're supposed to do.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
That's what I've done in the past.
Yep. Bruce has always been famous for getting out and pounding the pavement.
Or pounding on the doors.
Should we make a motion to vote? Or?
Under my understanding,
I think maybe.
the gentleman who lived at 2 Mill wasn't either for it or against it. And when he spoke at the last council meeting, spoke in favor of having a nice road for his kids to ride on. So that was my understanding that he was in favor, but with the letter of rejection, apparently they're not. So
thank you for doing that. Do we need to motion to
Well,
vote?
we're in a public hearing, so I'm gonna close the podium at this point. Podium's now closed. Do I have a motion?
To vote?
Yeah, to
Yeah,
vote.
move to vote.
I'll second the motion. Can I have a roll call vote, city clerk?
Councilperson Sharp,
No.
Stucho,
No.
Sizer,
No.
Mayor Stockford,
No.
Councilperson Soha,
No?
Councilperson Briner,
No.
Morrissey,
No.
Beer.
So, yes.
Okay.
You
So
Yeah.
we have 7, actually 1-7, so.
Thank you, Katie. Motion fails, and we will close the public hearing. There's no old business. We'll move into new business. Set public hearing.
The right of way?
Oh, yeah, excuse me. My bad. We have another public hearing tonight. And that is to vacate a portion of the public right-of-way lying west of platted lots 206, 207, and 208 of Joel McCollum's North Addition, and allowing for a 66-foot wide right-of-way for Union Street and allocation of the survey cost by special assessment. Dave?
Yeah, I believe Kim is here for this item, so the city assessor will come up. This is the one we've been talking about for a number of months.
Yes, so we have this triangular shaped piece of property at the corner of Vine and Union Street. There was some discussion of making it a park, doing something with it, but given the city budget and the fact that we have more than enough parks to maintain as it is, we were approached by one of the adjacent property owners and asked if there was any possibility of selling the property. Because it was, it became part of the city's property because it was a part of the city right-of-way in the original plat for that section. We can't sell it, but we could vacate that part of the right-of-way and allocate it to the adjacent property owners. So that's what, we had a survey prepared. The cost of that survey, because it's benefiting only those property owners who are going to be receiving that property, the cost of that survey will then be allocated to those adjacent property owners.
Thank you, Kim. Any questions for Kim while she's up there? Councilman Soha?
I noticed that one of the plot that's right on the corner, that's gonna be the largest extension.
Yes.
It appeared to me on the map that that extension's about the same size as there. Would they be able to then subdivide and sell that for their own?
No.
Any more questions for Kim? Councilman Briner?
As far as the survey cost, that's prorated per, amount of acreage each.
Yeah, by the square footage.
Any more questions for Kim? Thank you, Kim. And we will now open up the podium for public comment. If anybody would like to comment on this item, now's your chance.
Good evening. My name is Zach Harris. I'm a recent transplant to Hillsdale. Following on your question, sir, I'm actually the recent purchaser of 13 Vine Street, which is the southern property.
Nice.
I'd like to ask maybe for Kim, or anyone on council, I'm not sure, what limitations exist with regard to the property in terms of development or selling it?
So it becomes a part of your property. It wouldn't be, you wouldn't be able to create another parcel out of it. It would just be added to your yard.
And if I want to develop a new building, I would go through the normal means of
Correct.
zoning
Just go through the normal
applications.
zoning approval.
Okay, and are there any other limitations to the use of the land?
Only because of it being a corner, so there would be site triangle limitations there, but that would be the only limitations.
And does that mean, my last question, in terms of putting up a fence, I would just need to be mindful of the visibility that it would block within a certain distance of the road?
Right. There are specific regulations on a corner lot, so that's something that you can discuss with Alan Beaker, he's our zoning administrator, and he can let you know, just with the height of the fence.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion at the council table? Any more public comment, excuse me, regarding this item? I I will close the podium and we'll move into council discussion. Any discussion over here? Councilman Zeiser?
It's just always nice to put private property into private hands.
Yeah, this is cool. I like that we're doing this. I think it's neat. You don't typically see the government give back things that they acquire throughout the years, so.
No.
Or we've given back some alleys and stuff like that. That's pretty cool, I think.
We have vacated
I
some
like it.
alleys.
Yep. It's all yours. Councilman Brenner?
I have one more question. So 73, I noticed Union, I noticed that one was like landlocked. They probably have some type of, easement with 13 Vine or 15 Vine. Would they be able to do a driveway off of Union Street at that point in time?
I don't know why they wouldn't be able to. They would just have to have a curb cut and sell.
Awesome. It's good for them.
Any more discussion? Motion to approve the resolution?
So move.
Support?
Motion on the floor from Councilman Soha, seconded by Councilman Briner. May I please have a roll call vote, City Clerk?
Councilperson Stuchel?
Yes.
Sizer?
Yes.
Mayor Stockford?
Yes.
Councilperson Soha?
Yes.
Briner?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Morrissey?
Yes.
And Sharp.
Yes.
All approved. That's resolution 3450.
Thank you, Katie. Now we will close the public hearing section. We've got no old business. We'll move into new business. Item A is to set a public hearing for Oprah application exemption certificate for 28 North Howell Street. The application is for tax abatement on the rehabilitation of the former Nash Hallmark building. Project has an estimated cost of $120,000 for new ceiling, resurface walls, new railing for staircase, new energy efficient lighting, painting, improved front and rear fascia, and repair roof leaks. It's in the Oprah district that we created in 2013. So we need to set a public hearing for May 17th, 2021, which would be our second meeting in May. Any discussion on this item? Motion to set a public hearing?
So moved.
Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Briner, seconded by Councilman Soha to set a public hearing for Oprah application exemption certificate for 28 North Howell. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, and we have a public hearing set. Item number B, 2021 local street projects contract award. Kristen, did you want to do this?
Yeah, so as we discussed with the public hearing, we put out bids for the special assessment districts in Hillcrest, Riverdale, and then we also had Elm Court as part of that contract, should it be that the special assessment district went forth. So as that did not, you will be, we're requesting that you award a contract to Michigan Paving in the amount of $543,650 to complete the pavement and associated other work in the Hillcrest area and Riverdale area.
Okay, Michigan Paving's in Jackson?
They are?
They're the same ones that did, Howell?
No, that was a Concord company.
Concord? Okay.
Michigan Paving actually paved Yard and Mead and Vine for us.
My favorite streets, yeah.
Well,
Okay.
but they got here and did a great job.
Yes, yes.
They did it.
Howell was done by,
Lakeland.
Howell was done by Lakeland, a different paver, but, so we have experience with these guys.
Michigan Paving is a very large company, been around for a very long time.
Yeah.
Multiple locations in Michigan.
Yeah, this is, they paved this area out of the Jackson plant.
Yeah, they're up near the prison, if I remember right.
They're on Elm Road, yep.
Councilman Morrissey?
Just a quick thing, since the project on Elm Court is not going to go forward, is that going to change the amount in any way?
No, because I broke each special assessment district out separately, so, the $543,000 is only for Hillcrest and Riverdale.
Okay.
And when we get to another council item, we'll add the restoration of Elm Court into that contract. So on this one, we can disregard that portion of this, resolution.
question, Councilman Morrissey. Any more comments, questions? Well, we got Jake and Kristen up there.
Oh, they'll be up there again.
The contingency, how is that, would that be assessed if it's used, the 56?
So these are bid as unit price bids. So I go out and estimate, say I've gotta put in this many tons of asphalt, this many feet of curb, and then I estimate how much, sub-base and base will need to be added. So when we bid it, we get a unit price. So we put contingency in here, so I don't have to come back to you every time I said, well, I put in 10 more cubic yards of stone, it's gonna cost me this much. So I estimate what I might need for contingency, usually round up, that way we can build the project and go. Because if I have to stop a contractor to request to spend more money, then I'm gonna pay lost time to the contractor.
Sure.
That's what I do with the contingencies. But I mean, for all intents and purposes, my estimates are pretty good. The only thing in this case that is subjective is what we may have to put in with base and sub-base. Once we uncover it, and I can take a look of, any bad spots we'll repair so that we pave on a good base. Because obviously the base is what makes the pavement stand up and will also cause it to fail.
Yeah, it's my understanding we may have circumvented that in the past, so I appreciate that. Thank you, I was just, and there's not, if it's not needed, it won't be spent.
Exactly, yeah, we only spend what we want. And quite frankly, this is a very hefty contingency. I usually round up to an even dollar, just my experience has been, it's better to have it there than we don't have to come back to council after the fact and say, hey, we overspent.
So may I ask, is the budget, does the city assess the budget at the cost plus the contingency, with the contingency included, or are we just budgeting for the 543 and then
we budgeted for over this. The costs we got back are under my engineer's estimate, and what we budgeted was with my engineer's estimate.
Oh, that's good information, thank you.
Yeah. We're far under what my engineer's estimate was. We got very favorable costs.
But what we assess is the true value.
Oh, the assessment, yes. Yeah, when we go to assess the property owners, we only assess them what we spend. So if I only spend $425,000 in Hillcrest, I will split that out amongst those property owners, and they will only pay their portion of $425,000. Based on the fact that I suspect there's gonna be some subgrade stuff that we may have to do, I can't say we'll be at 425, but we're not gonna be at the 600 or 700 that I estimated either.
It's good to know.
Any more questions? Councilman Breyer, did you have something?
I'm looking at the estimated cost for Elm Court at $56,000, and you said that BPU is probably gonna end up paying about $40,000
Yes.
to go through and do the lead pipes and stuff.
Well, their contract is one thing. The restoration of what they dig up was $40,000. So putting back the curb that we have to remove on that entrance road and the pavement there, all those costs are $40,000. That's in addition to the water main work and the sewer work.
Any more questions for Kristen or Jake? Thank you, Jake and Kristen. Appreciate it. Any discussion? Entertain a motion to approve the contract or award the contract to Michigan Paving.
So moved.
Support.
Motion on the floor, Councilman Morrissey, seconded by Councilman Fear. May it please have a roll call vote, City Clerk?
Councilperson Zeiser?
Yes.
Mayor Stockberg?
Yes.
Councilperson Soha?
Yes.
Briner?
Yes.
Veer?
Yes.
Morrissey?
Yes.
Sharp?
Yes.
And Stuchel?
Yes.
8-0 approved.
Thank you, Katie. We'll move into item number C, MDOT contract for airport taxiway C extension and connector. Dave?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is the contract with MDOT for the taxiway Charlie extension, which is on the east end. That project is, in total, is about $1.3 million. Through the CARES Act, we've received this project at 100% federal cost share, so we will not have any expense to this, but this contract initiates that process. So we're asking for you to approve the contract, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to sign the appropriate documents.
Any discussion, questions for Dave?
Anytime we get $1.3 million from the government, that's great. Without strings attached mostly. I'm sure there's a few things we have to follow, but still.
No, it's government money.
Yeah, this has been in the works for a long time, so.
Yeah. This project has been part of our long-term capital improvement plan. This money just allowed us to speed that process up.
Yep, and it'll definitely be beneficial for the airport, so. Any more discussion, questions? Entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Support. Motion on the floor from Councilman Stuchel, seconded by Councilman Beer. May I please have a roll call vote, City Clerk?
Mayor Stockford,
Yes.
Councilperson Soha,
Yes.
Brainer,
Yes.
Beer,
Yes.
Morrissey,
Yes.
Sharp,
Yes.
Stuchel,
Yes.
and Sizer.
Yes.
8-0 approved. That's resolution 3449.
Thank you, Katie. We'll move on to item D, council meeting July 5th, 2021. Let me get to it right here. This is some really simple stuff, but I can get through this. Get through all these special conditions on the appendix F.
Pretty close.
Yep, okay. December 7th, we approved our 2021 council meeting schedule. Schedule included July 5th as a meeting date. City Hall will be closed on July 5th to observe Independence Day. So staff recommends council discuss having the meeting on Tuesday, July 6th, or canceling the meeting. I say we hold it, but if there's not a lot of business, we cancel it.
That's what I feel, the same way. If there's
Yeah.
not much on the agenda for that time, we just don't do it.
Yeah, so if we're looking a few days before the meeting, or a week before the meeting, it doesn't look like there's anything pressing, we'll cancel it at that point.
Except for finance, still it has to meet.
Are we considering doing it on, if we do have it on Tuesday?
Yeah,
It'd be on July 6th.
it would be on July 6th, yeah. And I would, unless there's something pressing, I would prefer that we cancel it. I mean, but we'll know at that time, Dave, right?
Mhm.
I mean, if there's something crazy we gotta approve, time sensitive, then
We will try to manage it so there's not,
Let's do
but
that.
if there is, then I will let you know, Mayor.
Do we need to officially move it?
Yeah.
So I move to move the meeting to July 6th.
Second.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Soha, seconded by Councilman Briner to move our first meeting of July to Tuesday, July 6th. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. And let's remember to add in that part about canceling it if it's if there's not a bunch of pressing business. Because if the city hall's gonna be closed and it'll be closed on the 5th, right?
Yes.
Either way. Anytime we don't need to have a meeting, I don't feel like we should have a meeting, so. Item E, Hillsdale College right-of-way use agreement and noise variance. Chief?
Yes, this is under new business because it's a new event for Hillsdale College. It mirrors Central Hall Palooza. They're asking to use the same lot that they own, but to close the alley on the west side of Hillsdale Street between Fayette and College. What this event is, it's taking place of the annual alumni events that are in conjunction with Fall Homecoming, which was canceled last year. Usually the traffic control orders, the street closures around the field house, Oak Street, College Street, the curve there that gets closed off for homecoming. The Alumni Association puts up their tents and they have any event that they have scheduled for homecoming week done at that time. So this is a replacement for the alumni. It's multiple days, but the request, this is for the street closure, I believe, for Friday, the 21st.
May 21st, yes.
Along with noise variance request, and then they requested a second noise variance request for the following day in the afternoon for about 3 3.5 hours, where they're having a luncheon in the quad. They made the request, I think that time of day and location, they probably didn't even need one, no one's gonna hear anything. But that's the request. What I was told, if this is successful, they may make this the annual alumni. No decision on that, but.
Okay. Any questions for the chief? Pretty cut and dry, huh, chief? Motion to approve the right-of-way use application and noise variance?
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Briner, seconded by Councilman Morrissey. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. All right, we will move into item F, BPU Vegetation Management Services. Chris?
So requests for bid proposals were posted in March for the Vegetation Management Services contract. 3 companies responded. 2 of those submitting qualified bids. The third company notified us that they were unable to bid due to time constraints. So we have utilized both companies in the past for similar contracts and have had success with both. We were looking for a 3-year contract with 4-year option. We typically keep our system on a 4-year trimming cycle, what we like to manage. So we anticipate trimming our entire system over this 3 to 4 year period. So scheduling this management program for this time period will help in budgeting the needed funds for the short-term trimming cycle. Staff recommends awarding the contract for vegetation management for 3 years with a 4-year option to low bidder Wright Tree Services.
Okay. Is this in new business and not in the consent agenda because of the bidding process?
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, it's budgeted for. We have a line item for tree trimming in our budget, but it's just we haven't been out to bid with it probably 3 or 4, at least not my time here. So, yep.
Okay. Any questions for the director?
This 104 or 144, is that per tree? Is that how that
That is
works?
per hour.
Per hour.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that'd be a 3-man crew plus their equipment. That would cost to run that crew. So we did that with a 2-man crew and a 3-man crew. We anticipate utilizing a 3-man crew more often. The reason being is that the third person can schedule and look at the trees ahead and talk to the homeowners ahead and just let the other 2 guys trim. We tried it with a 2-man crew and we just didn't have the efficiency wasn't there with that for the cost savings. So
sure.
Yeah.
Any more questions for Chris? Discussions?
I'm surprised Ray didn't jump on it. He's always asking me questions about the tree trimming, that's always in our finance thing.
It never ends.
Never
That's what I
ends.
can tell you.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so we spend about $210,000 a year. This is gonna end up bumping that up a little bit more, for the budget the following year. But yeah, we spend roughly $210,000 a year in tree trimming.
So is this part of that budget or this is in?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
So I have $190,000 left this year, and then next year I'll be asking you guys when we come forward for $210,000. So.
would it ever make sense to do it in-house, or is it just
Well, if
something
you look at the
can't
cost
do?
of a 3-man crew and equipment, we looked at that, but I mean, you're looking at, I don't know what tree trimmers cost. I'm guessing we're gonna be well over $210,000.
Okay.
Plus the liability and everything else you have
Sure.
with people trimming trees.
Yeah.
We do a little bit of it with our own guys in-house, but we just can't keep up with it, so.
Okay. Any more questions for the director? Motion to approve, award it to the low bidder, Wright.
So moved.
Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Soha, seconded by Councilman Briner. May we please have a roll call vote, City Clerk?
Councilmember Soha?
Yes.
Briner?
Yes.
Veer?
Yes.
Morrissey?
Yes.
Sharp?
Yes.
Stuchel?
Yes.
Sizer?
He stepped out.
And Mayor Stockford.
Yes.
7-0, I guess, approved.
Thank you, Katie. We'll move into what is now item G, BPU Drinking Water Asset Management Grant Acceptance. Chris?
So in December 2020, the city applied for $670,000 in drinking water asset management grant funds through the Michigan Department of Environmental Great Lakes and Energy. The state of Michigan allocated $36.5 million in grant funds to assist water supplies comply with the rules promulgated by the 2018 revisions to the Michigan Lead and Copper Rule. Eagle reported having received 304 applications requesting $140 million in funds, far exceeding the funds available. The city's grant request was intended for use to complete the verifications of water services lines per those revisions and the complete distribution system material inventory, which is due to Eagle by January 1st of 2025. So it's that potholing that we were doing around town, utilizing Taplin in the past. So recently we were notified that we were successful in obtaining the DWAM grant due to recent changes in Eagle's minimum requirements for water service line verification. Eagle asked city staff to revise the requested grant amount to align with these new requirements. A revised grant request was submitted to Eagle in the amount of $241,000 to complete the random verifications that are now required by the new guidance. There are no required matching funds for this grant, and that has been accepted. So staff and the BPU board support acceptance of this grant, and would ask the council to accept as well.
I think that's so funny they changed their name to Eagle now. They're like it's like a drug company that puts out poison medicine and then changes their name from Pfizer to Riser or something. This is the DEQ.
Correct.
Screw the whole state, and then that wasn't Eagle. It was. Any discussion, questions? Motion to accept the grant.
I'll move.
Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Reiner, seconded by Councilman Soha. And please have a roll call vote, City Clerk.
Councilperson Reiner?
Yes.
Beer?
Yes.
Morrissey?
Yes.
Sharp?
Yes.
Stuchel?
Yes.
Sizer?
I'll abstain.
Okay. Mayor Stockford?
No.
And Stockford.
Yes.
We have 6-1.
Thank you, Katie. We'll move on to item H, BPU, Arbor and Elm Court water and sewer mains. Kristen?
Yeah, so in the fiscal year 21 budget, the BPU had budgeted to replace the water main on Arbor and Elm Court and the sanitary sewer main on Elm Court. Both the water mains are 2-inch mains, so they're undersized. They will be upgraded to 6-inch water mains. The sewer line on Elm Court has had some defects in it that we've been dealing with, so we are replacing that as well along with this project. So we went out to bid, we received 5 bids for this project, and RJT Construction, who we worked with last year on our lead line replacement, and I have many years of experience with, was the low bid for a project total of $137,000. In addition, because the special assessment district for Elm Court did not go forth, we would like to add the $36,000 in restoration costs that we asked the bidders to provide in the event that didn't go forth. So staff is recommending that we award bid to RJT Construction of Michigan Center up near Jackson, and the amount of $190,000 for the total restoration of Elm Court plus Arbor Court's construction. The restoration of Arbor Court will be completed with the Hillcrest Area Special Assessment District for full rehab as part of that project.
Thank you, Kristen. Any questions for Kristen? Discussion?
Is this part of our normal budget, or is this?
This was budgeted.
This was budgeted.
No discussion? All right, well, thank you, Chris, and thank you, Kristen. Appreciate it. Appreciate your guys' hard work. Means a lot. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Veer, seconded by Councilman Soha. May I please have a roll call vote, City Clerk?
Councilperson Beer?
Yes.
Morrissey?
Yes.
Sharp?
Yes.
Stuchel?
Yes.
Sizer?
Yes.
Mayor Stockford,
Yes.
Councilman Soha,
Yes.
and Briner.
Yes.
8-0 approved.
Thank you, Katie. Okay, we are done with new business. Good job, guys. That was swift and steady. I like that. We'll move into miscellaneous reports. We've got an Arbor Day proclamation. Let me get to it. Bruce, what's the page?
306.
Dear Lord in heaven. Okay. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now therefore I, Adam L. Stockford, Mayor of the City of Hillsdale, do hereby proclaim April 30th, 2021 as Arbor Day in the City of Hillsdale. And I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Dated this 19th day of April. Any discussion on Arbor Day?
Is there for the city, if somebody wanted to plant a tree in honor of somebody or in honor of something, does the city have something where we could donate a tree and the city would plant it, or?
Jake? Does that sound like something like a city park you talking about?
Yeah, right, on public property. My grandmother died, I want to plant a tree in her honor, the little plaque, is that something that the city has?
Like in parks and things?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we've done that lots of times.
Okay.
Yeah, I can think of a couple off the top of my head, to be honest with you. We've done trees, we've also done, park benches are another one with plaques on them, we've done it in a couple places. We shy away from standalone plaques that are on like a stake, because they usually end up in the lake or
Sure.
who knows where. So typically the trees don't get that, like a stake style plaque. But you could do a, big rock or something maybe if you wanted to sit next to it or something like that, but.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, we work with folks on that.
Good question, Councilman Soha. Thanks, Jake. Any more discussion about that item? All right, we'll move into appointments. Got 2 appointments tonight. One is a reappointment to the library board. Ms. Karen Hill. I'm sure you guys, most of you know Karen. And then to the BPU board, JJ Hotshire. Any questions about the appointments? I didn't talk to Karen since she was a reappointment, but I did talk to JJ, and he's really excited about serving on the BPU and has a ton of ideas, and so. Want to do both appointments at the same time?
So moved.
Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Briner, seconded by Councilman Soha to approve both appointments. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. All right, we'll move into general public comment. During this time, podium will be open. Please state your name. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. Please limit your trips to 1 to the podium. And during this time, you may speak on anything you like. Podium is now open. Seeing no public comment, we'll close the podium. We'll move into city manager's report. Dave?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things to bring up. Our next budget meeting will be April 28th at 6 p.m. During that time, we'll be going over the BPU budget, so that'll be electric, water, and sewer. Also, police and fire or public safety, and a couple other smaller ones. So that is April 28th at 6 p.m. just for everyone who doesn't know, tomorrow and Wednesday, we have a freeze warning and that'll be in effect. So if you have plants, you might want to cover them or just be precautious with the low temperatures in the next couple days. And recreation for Little League, we've got 142 signups so far with a May 24th starting date for Little League. So just want to encourage everyone who might have a Little Leaguer to get signed up. Also, kind of some really positive news. We have boat dock spaces at Bobby's Lake around Owens Memorial and Sandy Beach area. And we have 111 spaces. To date, we've leased out 110 of the 111 for this coming year. So we have one left for the entire year. So the last 2 years, last year and this year, we've seen a substantial increase for boating and those who want to take advantage of those spaces. So that's a very positive thing. And I think, just those leases generate about $22,000 to $24,000 a year in revenue for the parks. And then lastly, want to thank all those who came out for the day of service, particularly those in the community and those at Hillsdale College that helped and worked with Rotary to paint the barrels at Stocks Park. They really did a nice job, and Heather Stuchel was kind of the head of that, but took regular trash barrels and painted flowers on them, and if you drive by, they really stand out, and I've had positive comments from the community on that really makes a difference. So, with that, that's all I really had to mention tonight. If there's any questions council has.
Any questions for Dave?
Just to add to that, Heather wanted to make sure to thank the city for their help providing with rakes and tools and all the stuff, and so it was really a joint effort.
They also helped rake Sandy Beach.
Yeah, they did that too.
As
But they
well,
painted
so.
the barrels out there at the Waters Park, and so we borrowed all the rakes and all that good stuff, so that was good.
Very cool stuff. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a really active summer. People are itching to do things, to have activities. I am curious about the stuff that's going on with the vaccinations and our rec department. Are we gonna fall under those guidelines where the kids have to provide proof of vaccination to play our rec department sports?
Well, based on what we know to date, we are looking at the testing requirement for those 13 and over.
Yeah, that's
which is
what I
very
was
much
talking
like
about.
the school requirements.
Yeah.
So anyone less than 13 years of age, there will be no testing involved. 13, we will probably have to. We're working with the health department to figure that out, but they might have to test weekly like we do at the schools, but we're checking. And we'll keep the council posted on that. And then, we're just gonna be very, precautious, with the 6 feet and just put our spacers out there, but we're not gonna have heavy.
Well, of course, we're gonna be careful. I mean, we're responsible, so.
Correct.
But definitely keep us in the loop about the testing stuff.
Yes.
Definitely do that. Did you have a question for Dave, Councilman Silva?
Well, now I have more than one, but the barrels, thank you, but
I didn't do it.
I'm sorry, the vaccine requirement and the testing thing is a sore subject for me. It's a gross encroachment on our civil liberties, and I would hope that we can do something as a city council to ensure that our people are not subjugated to that. I had to sign under duress letters for my children to be tested every week so that they could participate in spring sports. They already had one spring sport year stolen from them because of dictatorial mandates from Lansing, and now they're forcing me, my hand or my children wouldn't be able to participate this year in sports, and that frustrates me. And to say that we might have to have the general population have swabs or tests so that they can go and enjoy our parks? I say absolutely not, and if we need to do another resolution, if we need to stand, I would ask my council members to join with me to do that and to pass that, and you figure out the law and make it happen. That's not okay.
That's why I said keep us in the loop, so we'll overdo it.
Man, I'm sorry, what I was saying before pales, it's enough.
We'll figure it out.
Thank you. But thank you to Heather for painting those. I get to look at them from my window. They're very nice. I did have another question for you, but it's gone, so I apologize.
Any more questions for Dave? Awesome, great report, Dave. Moving to council comment. Anybody have anything interesting?
Could I ask the city clerk, could you put the page numbers by the line items so that when we're scrolling through our iPads trying to keep up, that we would know? Is that something you could do?
Yeah.
Thank you. It'd be very helpful.
And they do have links,
Yeah.
by the way, so
Agenda.
if you press on the agenda, it'll take you automatically to that page, but you do have to go
You
back
can scroll back
To the
up.
top.
to the top.
I didn't know those were links though. That's good to know.
Or do it the old-fashioned way.
Kill a tree.
Yeah, we got Arbor Day, we'll plant another one.
We got 2 minutes.
They'll start to work on our leak problem at least. Anybody else have anything good? Councilman Zeiser?
I wouldn't say it's good, but duty compels me to discuss it. A couple of weeks back, the Public Services Committee had a meeting pursuant to council's previous discussion regarding the enforcement of the codes for blight and so forth. So I have prepared a draft of a report out of that meeting because it was sort of a fact-finding meeting. I've put the draft to the city manager this afternoon for review just because I wanted to make sure that I got it factually right, because there are certain distinctions as to what goes to which court when that weren't exactly clear in my mind. But the overall thrust of the report will be that the consensus opinion of the city staff, at least, is that the ordinances and the enforcement of those ordinances are working generally, and that blight conditions in the past few years have greatly improved, and that there are just several high-profile exceptions, which for reasons that I go into in the report will become clear, but it's not clear that there's much that we can do about them, and there's a number of solutions or potential solutions that I've outlined that all have their ups and downs. So I assume that we'll resume that discussion once I've tendered the report, but after City Manager Mackey looks at it, I'd like to show it to the other members of the committee, and so I believe we could have it for the next meeting.
Great work, Councilman Zeiser. It's great news. Thank you for the update on that. Any other council comment? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Motion on the floor from Councilman Soha, seconded by Councilman Morrissey to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Meeting's adjourned.